call or click before you dig. Dig safely, it's a rock.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Now that spring is here and with the rain that we've had lately beginning to soften up that ground, may turn your attention to perhaps some landscaping work. And whether it be a garden, whether it be planting a tree, you know, there's one thing that's really important that sometimes we overlook, and that's the fact that there's a whole bunch of utility lines that are planted on your property. I want to bring in Derek Leffert right now. Derek, thank you so much, number one, for joining us. Derek's from the Missouri Common Ground Alliance. People may not know what the MCGA is, but we all know, call 1-800-DIG-RIGHT. We all know that line right there. And Derek is the head of the effort behind that. Derek, I want to start with, when I go out, whether it be planting a tree, whether it be serious excavation work, when do I know that I need to call and find out what's below me?
Yeah, so Missouri law requires that everybody that's doing any kind of excavation work contact Missouri One Call in advance of that effort. So it doesn't matter, you know, we have a lot of people that say, well, you know, I'm just digging a couple inches, or I'm only digging in the backyard or something like that, or I'm only using a shovel. Anytime anybody's digging anywhere, it doesn't matter how deep they're digging, doesn't matter what kind of tools they're using, doesn't matter where they're digging. By law, they are legally required to contact Missouri One Call 3 days in advance from when they plan to begin their work.
Great. I want to use that as a leaping off point because I may just be like, hey, I'm just planting a tree in my front yard. It's not a big deal, but yeah. You've seen the results of what happens when people don't call.
Yeah, we have. It's certainly unfortunate. The biggest risk is there could potentially be fatalities or injuries as a result of getting into gas lines or electric lines, and we saw that in Kansas City back in 2012, I believe it was. So there's certainly that risk there, but there's also the risk to be fined by the Missouri Attorney General's office, and then there's also the cost for damages to repair those damages. Oftentimes it can be very, very costly.
So kind of walk me through the process here. So I've got a tree, I've got a large garden I want to do. I've got a weekend project here. How do I go about making sure that I do it safely? How do I contact you?
So there's a couple of different ways they can do it. They can either call the 1-800-DIG-RIGHT, which you mentioned the jingle. Everybody probably knows that jingle. It's remarkably effective. Or they can go to the Missouri One Call website, www.mo1call.com, and they can submit their information there. They need to do that 3 days in advance. So I would recommend, if they're going to do a weekend project, submit that ticket by Tuesday at the latest. Wednesday you still should be good to go, but Tuesday would give an adequate amount of time for folks to make sure that they get that submitted in time and get the utilities out there to get it marked.
And so really it doesn't take any time for any of us to do it. We can simply go online, we can call the number, and then after that, what should I expect as far as when people show up on my property? What's the process after that?
Yeah, good question. So basically what happens, you submit the ticket. It's going to take you 5 minutes tops, maybe 10, to submit the ticket online. And then from that point, utilities have 3 days to come out, or 2 days plus a day it's called in, to come out and actually mark the lines on the ground. So you'll see that all over the place. You'll see, paint marks. You'll see red, orange, blue, yellow, green, all kinds of various different colors out there with the flags. Essentially what you're going to need to do is make sure that you avoid hitting those lines in that area. There's if you hit one of those utilities within 2 feet of those marked lines, then you're going to be responsible for it. So basically, 3-day process, avoid hitting the lines, and that's what we're here for, and hopefully it works.
Okay, Derek, I tell you what, as a property owner, you bring up a very good point right there as far as the leeway that I need to give and what I'm responsible for. I tell you what, I'm up against a break here. Can I convince you to stick around here and come back with us in just a little bit and kind of help me out with those questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Love to. All
right, we'll be back with Derek Leffert there from the Missouri Common Ground Alliance. Also, 1-800-DIG-RIGHT. That's all you have to do, 1-800-DIG-RIGHT. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News and catch up with Derek here in just a little bit.